This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and tonight from our nation's capital, it's the St. Louis Cardinals and the Washington Nationals. Matt Carpenter has been one of the hottest hitters in all of Major League Baseball, and right now, he is your National League Player of the Week. And welcome to Cardinals baseball. Welcome to the broadcast booth. That's Tim McCarver. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us. The first of 6 on the road, the first of 3 against Washington. One thing that stands out, no doubt, Tim, about the St. Louis Cardinals, the starting pitching, some of the best we've seen in the game so far.
Only 4 runs against Cincinnati over the weekend, and you don't have to look too far to find out why the Cardinals are 8-3. Matt Carpenter and the starting pitching of the Cardinals. Starting pitching, really the theme of tonight, and also potentially for this 3-game series with the Washington Nationals and the St. Louis Cardinals. It's Lance Lynn going for St. Louis, Gio Gonzalez for the Nationals. Baseball comes your way next.
Bud Light reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealers for great prices on our all-new 2015 vehicles today. Last night it was our evening with Lou Brock and Red Shandies. And what an
that had to be fun. Huh?
Oh, it was awesome.
Wow.
They were great. Red, 92 years young. So sharp last night with the stories, and we had a lot of fun. Expectations for the Washington Nationals, Tim McCarver, very, very high. They're led by Matt Williams, and it's a team that's loaded with good pitching, big contracts, big players. we'll see how far they can go.
I'll tell you how strong the Nationals pitching is. They have a pitcher in the bullpen who pitched almost 200 innings last year. Tanner Roark was 15-10 with a 2.85 earned run average and can't crack the top 5 starters of the Nats.
That's a good rotation.
That's pretty strong.
Mike Matheny, 4th season as Cardinals manager. In his first year, guided the Cardinals to the National League Championship Series, had that thrilling 5-game victory in series over the Washington Nationals back in 2012. Matt Carpenter leads it off, followed by Jason Hayward and Matt Holliday here in the first. Johnny Peralta will bat cleanup. Then Mark Reynolds is at first base tonight. Matt Adams will come off the bench. John Jay, Yadier Molina, Colton Wong, and the pitcher batting ninth, Lance Lynn. The pitcher on the mound for Washington, a good one, the lefty Gio Gonzalez.
Gio Gonzalez is the type of pitcher whose stuff is so good, you ask yourself, how can this guy ever lose a ball game? Won 19 for the Oakland Athletics, and then was traded to the Nats from Oakland. Billy Beane's deal, one that didn't work out about 5 years ago. But this guy can flat get you out, and the Cardinals have 4 left-handers in their lineup against Gonzalez tonight.
Hyundai pitch arsenal for Gio Gonzalez, and this is from last year. He features a fastball, a changeup, and a very good slider. So Gio Gonzalez against Lance Lynn. The Cards and the Nationals, 2 of the favorites to come out of the National League this year. Should be a fun series.
What pitching matchups.
You bet.
Tomorrow, John Lackey off a great outing, 7 shutout innings against Cincinnati. And then Pfister against Milwaukee, I should say. Doug Pfister, Michael Wacha, Max Scherzer on Thursday.
And a fastball taken low by Carpenter. Might be the hottest hitter right now in Major League Baseball. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Speaking of our night with Red and Lou, I asked both of them, I said, who's the guy that you really enjoy watching in today's game? They both mentioned Matt Carpenter. Kind of old school, no gloves, the beard, he's got the eye black a lot of times. And Lou compared him. He said he reminds me of 2 players, Pete Rose and Tony Gwynn. How about that?
Gosh. Tony Gwynn, one of the great natural hitters ever. Pete Rose, recently hired by the Fox Network.
How about that?
Yeah.
Maybe a step in the direction of being back into baseball with Major League Baseball, not just on the television side. That's fought off on a hop to Yanel Escobar across the diamond to the former third baseman here, Ryan Zimmerman, for the first out. Dobbs Tire Auto Center's defense with Worth, Span, and Harper. That trio in the outfield. Escobar, Desmond, Espinosa, Zimmerman around the infield, and Wilson Ramos behind the plate. A slow start for the Cardinals right fielder Jason Hayward, batting .213, 1 home run, 3 RBIs. I was thinking the game on Saturday that he had, the first home run, he also had a great catch in right field. Could be a starting point for him to get things going.
Great catch, home run, curtain call, a coming out party for Jason Hayward on Saturday. Cardinals in that middle of the 3-game series against Cincinnati. They held the Reds to 4 runs as we take a look at John Mabry. You know, it's interesting to note, John Mabry, the left-handed hitter when he was a player, was .270 as a lifetime hitter against left-handed pitching and .262 against right-handers.
Interesting. Hayward into center field. There's Denard Span.
And my point is, Dan, that when you're that prolific against left-handed pitching as a left-handed hitter, you can convey that to your hitters in the lineup. And the Cardinals with 4 or 5 left-handers against left-handed pitching. They had 5 starting against John Lester on opening night, and they beat Lester in Chicago.
Here's Matt Holliday with 2 outs and nobody on. Billy Miller is on now as the assistant hitting coach, which is a trend that picked up a couple of years ago in Major League Baseball to have 2 hitting coaches. And Miller also hit from the left side. Make a case that Billy Miller had, if not the most famous hit, it's certainly among them in Boston Red Sox history.
I think it was the biggest hit.
Mariano Rivera to keep that 2004 team alive in the 9th inning and facing elimination.
After the Dave Roberts steal of second base.
The 2-1. People would say, well, Carlton Fisk, trying to have the body language against Cincinnati to keep a home run alive. That's a famous shot in television history and sports broadcasting history. But in terms of a base hit for the Red Sox and what it meant, the Red Sox lost after Carlton Fisk hit that home run the next night.
Right.
Red Sox went on to win 4 straight against the Yankees and then 4 straight against St. Louis. There's a 2-out walk. There's Johnny Peralta hitting .302. 1 home run, 7 RBIs. This time last year, first year of a 4-year deal with the Cardinals, got off to a very slow start, finished up with 21 home runs.
His average suffered in April, but he did have 8 home runs. So April was not as cruel a month as it has been for some teams this year, like the Cincinnati Reds.
Really across Major League Baseball, too. The offense way down.
Oh, way down. Run production way down. Pitching up, obviously. Good changeup from Gonzalez.
A short lead at first by Holliday. And the breaking ball hit foul. What do you attribute the offense being down because of, let's say, power pitching, late innings? The fact that PEDs are out of the game primarily?
That's a big reason. 5,000 more runs scored in the year 2000 than last year.
Wow.
6,000 strikeouts more last year than in the year 2000. You talk to the scouts, and they'll tell you that in college and high school, there are power arms, but there are very few power hitters.
Mm-hmm. The 1-2. The strikeout of Johnny Peralta. First of the night for Gio Gonzalez. Lance Lynn to the mound when we come back. 17 games in front of the Mets and the Braves. Span, Desmond, and Worth here in the first, followed by Harper, Zimmerman, Escobar, Ramos, Espinosa, and the pitcher Gio Gonzalez. And on the mound for St. Louis, Tim, it is Lance Lynn. Record of 1-1, could be 2-0 if not for that ill-fated throw, pickoff play at Wrigley Field.
Going back 18 starts, including last year, he has not given up 3 earned runs in a game more than, well, that was it.
Yeah.
More than 3 earned runs in a game, 18 straight starts. He has been a machine with mostly fastballs.
Washington slowly but surely getting healthier as this season progresses here in the first month. One point in spring training, Escobar, Rendon, their outstanding young third baseman who they hope to get back by next week. Span, Worth, all were out in spring training. Up the middle and off the glove of Peralta. And a leadoff base hit by Denard Span. A look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal for Lance Lynn. As Tim told you, a lot of fastballs. That's from last year, and those numbers with the fastball, in terms of how often he throws it, they're even higher than the 81% you see right there.
That changeup is unintentional. Sometimes a pitcher throws changeups when he grips his fastball too tightly.
When Lance Lynn first arrived on the scene, as you get a look at Ian Desmond, he's a very good hitting shortstop, struggling in the field. But Lynn was throwing in the high 90s coming out of the bullpen. And now it's more about efficiency, being in the strike zone, lower pitch counts, trying to go deeper into games.
It's amazing how he can throw that hard, and yet his pitches are that heavy. Lance has one of those thick bodies, very, very strong.
Describe what you mean with a heavy ball.
One, when you hit it, it's like hitting an anvil. When you hit a guy who throws a light fastball, it's like hitting a golf ball off a tee with a baseball bat. You make contact against Lance a lot, and you talk to the hitters, and they'll tell you that it's like the bat reverberates.
1-2 the count on Desmond, hitting .314. 1 home run, he's driven in 5. A very good player, but he's committed already 8 errors defensively
in 12 games. At the most important defensive position, shortstop. Of course, you're going to get more balls at shortstop than any of the other positions, generally speaking. But it is a real problem, an early problem for the Nats.
So as many errors as the Cardinals as a team have committed this year. Span not running, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. At this point, they say Denard Span not quite 100%. He's had 2 surgeries within the last 4 months. And in years past, at this point, he'd be a threat to steal.
I don't think you send runners with the count 2-2. If the pitch is a ball, he's compelled to run anyway. 2-2 counts a man on first. That's not a running situation, generally speaking.
We'll see another 2-2 pitch here from Lance Lynn. Nationals with an awful lot of players that are up after this year for free agency. And in many ways, they're talking about this season just going for broke. This is the big year for them. The 2-2. A strikeout for Lynn, his first of the night. Missouri Lottery Fox tracks and that heavy ball of Lance Lynn. Jason Worth dealing with a sore shoulder that he banged on the wall last year. And off to a slow start, 3 for 23. And the Nationals gave him over $100 million. I don't know about you, but piqued my interest to say the least. And you look at the contract now, it's been a fair deal.
Oh, yeah.
In baseball terms, I mean, he's been a very good player.
Yes, he has.
A leader in that clubhouse. He's coming off those championship runs with the Phillies. No balls and 2 strikes.
Questioning home plate umpire Adrian Johnson about that last pitch. Appeared to be a strike.
And an 0-2 pitch. And there's a strikeout. Caught him looking.
He's going to complain about this one, too. First one was inside on the corner. The last one was at the knees and on the outside part of the plate. Molina setting up nicely, framing nicely. 15 strikeouts for Lance Lynn thus far this season. Only 2 walks.
And now it's Bryce Harper. Speaking of walks, that has been an uptick in his game to start the year. 11 walks, hitting .267. Check on Span. 4 home runs, and he's driven in 7.
Dan, you look at this lineup, and the way Bryce Harper is such a low ball hitter, you've got to figure that Harper's the most dangerous guy at the age of 22, doesn't turn 23 till October 16th. But he's the most dangerous hitter in the lineup for the Nationals tonight, in my view, against a guy like Lynn.
You know, it's incredible, and you just gave his age. So much of the baseball world is focused on Chris Bryant, who is a young, hopeful star for the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah.
He's 10 months older than Bryce Harper. That puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
Certainly does.
Nationals have really been impressed with Harper in terms of plate discipline. Better this year with the walks being up. Strikeouts are up as well.
Comes with age. Mike Rizzo, the general manager of the Nationals.
A 2-0 pitch. And now 3-0 with Ryan Zimmerman on deck.
I think if you're Matt Williams, a very good hitter in his own right, 378 home runs in his career, he knows what hitting 3-0 is. I think he lets him go here.
Three and one. Matt Williams, the National League Manager of the Year in 2014. Clint Hurdle of Pittsburgh was second. Now the count runs full. Bruce Bochy finished third.
How about Span not running then? 3-2-2 out. You run automatically. Span was going back to the bag. I beg your pardon, it was 3-1 on that count. I was wrong. Pay attention, will you?
There he goes on the 3-2, and it's hit out of play.
Denard was right. I was wrong. Hang with him.
Harper 1 for 6 with a home run off of Lance Lynn. Exciting young talent, Bryce Harper. Lynn trying to strike out the side, and he does. A breaking ball that freezes Harper. 3 strikeouts in a row in the first inning for Lance Lynn. All right, guys, looking forward to the postgame show. Top of the second rolls in. Nationals Park here in our nation's capital. Mark Reynolds, John Jay, Yadier Molina against Gio Gonzalez. Giovanni Aramis, Gio for short, Gonzalez. It was interesting, Tim, you were talking about the deal with Oakland that brought Gonzalez here. He has been involved in some deals that are with the biggest names in the sport.
That's true.
Traded from the White Sox to the Phillies with Aaron Rowan for Jim Thome. Then traded back to the Sox for Freddie Garcia. Then he goes from Chicago to Oakland. I guess the Sox just didn't like him. So he goes to Oakland, and he's part of the Nick Swisher deal. And Washington gave up 4 prospects to get Gio Gonzalez. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And what's interesting, of the 4 prospects that were traded away, none are with the Oakland Athletics.
We were talking about it before the telecast tonight, and Billy Beane makes a lot of right moves in Oakland, but that was one that was not right.
The 2-2 swung on and missed, and a strikeout of Reynolds.
That's an example of what Gonzalez can do. 2 straight strikeouts, 3 straight strikeouts for Lance Lynn. And Al Raboski talking about runs being at a premium tonight. That's why the keys to the game, it's pretty easy. Score the first run. Chances go dramatically up when you're facing pitchers like this.
So the Toyota keys to the game with Tim McCarver. And here's John Jay, who was so good against left-handed pitching a year ago. I think with Jay, you don't really worry about it. The lefty-lefty matchup, certainly not with Matt Carpenter. That pitch elevated, 0-2.
But you do with Hayward and Wong.
You bet. And Adams.
Yes.
Who's on the bench tonight. Cardinals with 4 bench players tonight. Peter Borges, he along with his wife, celebrating the birth of a brand new baby boy in his career. Great numbers for John Jay, 288 against those lefties, 295 against the righties. Here's an 0-2.
Why is John Jay a better hitter against, or is a good hitter against left-handed pitching? Everything, you rely on your front shoulder. If that front shoulder is in there a little more.
Great example right there.
And go to left field, particularly with 2 strikes, and you see John Jay doing that over and over and over again. Up the middle, left field, changes his approach. He dares the left-hander to jam him. Great hitting by Jay, but Cardinal fans have seen that for the last 3 years.
Here's Yadier Molina. Average has jumped up to 282. No home runs. He's driven in 7. This may be a combination that you see a hit and run potentially.
Maybe. Yeah, sure.
Molina, good contact man, good at going to right.
Probably get a fastball. Ooh. I don't like that. To square around when you're in a fastball count, that's the time you want to pounce on a fastball.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Obviously a fake. Yachty's not bunting, certainly, with 1 out.
Trying to go to right and hits it out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gio Gonzalez in the division series of 2012 had 2 starts against the Cardinals, 10 innings, 11 walks. which at times in his career has been an issue. Little fly ball into shallow right. Bryce Harper makes the catch. 2 down. 6 is a serious number at on the run. When the Cardinals score 6, any size drink is just 50 cents the next day. That's coffee, fountain, or frozen drinks. When they score, you pour. At your nearest on the run, you earned it. There's Colton Wong. Wong is hitting .219, no home runs, and 2 RBIs.
I talked to Colton Wong about holding his hands that low. We mentioned it at first series in Chicago. I asked him if he's always done that. He said, no, I haven't. When I signed, he said, I held the bat on my shoulder. I said, like John Jay? He said, yes. John Jay had to break that habit. Then he went back to it after helicoptering around, corrected that. And I think Colton is in transition right now with the way he holds his hands.
With where they're positioned, Tim, do you find that if you're holding them that low?
High fastball.
Yeah.
How do you catch up to a high fastball?
Exactly. I was just going to say, you're getting jammed, and especially up and in.
And you hit it weakly to left field.
Staying put at first is Jay. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Try to position your hands above the high strike.
On 1 and 2, the runner goes. And a pitch up and in. As you mentioned, that's where that ball, either you're tied up and you miss it, or you hit it weakly to the left side.
Yeah, that was a perfect shot of Colton Wong on that high fastball. See, there's too much to do when you have to bring your hands up and back. That's another one.
And foul.
That's another. You're never going to be able to pull that ball, so you have to keep your hands above the high strike.
One and 2, the count on Wong. Little bouncer up the middle. Gonzalez had a glove on it, barehanded, no throw, and a base hit for Colton Wong. If Gonzalez lets that go, we're more than likely headed to the bottom of the second.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dan. Ian Desmond coming over on the play, but Gonzalez got a glove on it, and because of that, Colton Wong has a base hit.
Been a dreaded word to describe what's happening with Ian Desmond. Yips. He may have the yips, and well, that's scary to think about.
It really is.
And Tim, it's not just with the throws, but even just the simple catches of the baseball, and he's such an athletic shortstop. But again, it's worth repeating, 8 errors already.
Last year he had 8 errors in the first 19 games. This year, the first 12 games.
I know Matt Williams has been trying to do everything he can to get him out of it.
He really has. I mean, Matt was a former shortstop at UNLV.
The 0-2 pitch, and Lynn strikes out. Couple of base hits, nothing to show for it. We're midway through 2. No score in Washington. We are situated, and Mitch Harris knows all about that. Part of the Naval Academy. An amazing story. Here he is after 5 years of basically not even playing catch and serving our country. Mitch Harris has a chance to make his major league debut here tonight. It's Zimmerman, Escobar, Ramos here in the bottom of the second against Lance Lynn. Jim Hayes, I know you talked a lot about it on the pregame show, but those fans that have just joined us, what a story this is.
Yeah, a young man drafted in 2008 and fulfilled his military commitment 5 years. You know, when he was drafted by the Cardinals, he had a 94, 95 mile an hour fastball. When he went back, it was 80 miles an hour. You couldn't have scripted it better being this close to Annapolis. He told me on the pregame show, though, he's very grateful for the opportunity, and it's great being here because he has his former CO in the stands along with his parents and fiance. But he said given his choice, he'd rather do it back in St. Louis because the Cardinal fans have been so supportive. But he never gave up on the dream. Eventually the velocity returned on his fastball. And as Mike Matheny points out, he's a 29-year-old, hardly a rookie type because he's got so much confidence and he's seen everything from his military service.
A diving attempt by Jay into right center. And Ryan Zimmerman on his way to second base with a leadoff double. That's the amazing thing. I remember when Mike Matheny brought Mitch into a game last year, and our fans, as knowledgeable as they are, knew his story of being in the Naval Academy. And Mitch, at that point in time, this is about a year and a half ago, he was throwing maybe 91 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, he gets a full pro year under his belt last year, full off season, and spring training, and guys, he shows up and he's throwing 95, 96. It's an amazing story, it really is.
I think some would call it atrophy when you're not using your fastball, but he worked his way back. You know, during a service, you know, he's over in the Middle East. He's working, fighting drug cartels, you know, overseas. He's in Russia. He said he was on an aircraft carrier and he's trying to air it out there, and he said, you know, the seas are so choppy you just can't do it. So he had to wait till he fulfilled his military service. That was important to him, and he worked his way back.
And a ground ball to first. Reynolds will take it. Escobar advancing Zimmerman to third with one down.
John Mozeliak was telling me before the game, he said, you know, he's been getting questions. Is this a baseball decision or is this a great story? And John Mozeliak said it's both. You know, Peter Borges, congratulations, just had a baby boy. He's on paternity leave. They needed a pitcher, and they were saying that Harris has earned this. He pitched well in AAA, but you look at his velocity now. He's back around 95 miles an hour, man.
Great story. And Jim, the last member of the Naval Academy to be a member of Major League Baseball.
If memory serves, it was 1921, Dan, but I think I'm going to leave that to you to say the name.
1921. Well, there was a gentleman back in 1921 from the Naval Academy.
Ask Tim.
I'm going to leave that name to Tim.
2 years after the Great War.
There you go. Infield is drawn in for Wilson Ramos. A fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Runs at a premium tonight. Second inning. Tim, infield is drawn in.
Absolutely. It's an easy call.
Outfield is straight away. Wilson Ramos, very good catcher. Jose Lobaton is a switch hitter. They're back up. On their bench, they have Reed Johnson, Dan Uggla, Tyler Moore, and Clint Robinson.
You see the infield end. The third base coach will tell the runner at third base, depending on the speed, you're not running, but on a high chopper, you're on your own. Chopper down the third base line or the first base line. But you've got to make the ball go through with the infield drawn in.
Strikeout for Lynn, and a big one early on. That's 4 already for Lance Lynn. The BJC Healthcare difference maker is Lance Lynn. This dates back to the All-Star break. You see Lynn third on that list. In terms of the lowest ERA since the break of last season, 2.16.
That's Doug Fister, Fister, and he will be the pitcher tomorrow for the Nationals against John Lackey, who was superb his last outing. I think his best outing in a Cardinal uniform.
I would agree.
7 shutout innings against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Boy, how about the Brewers, how poorly they have started.
Man.
Things have gotten so bad that Scooter Gennett, no pitch around the 8th place hitter here, Danny Espinosa, to get to Gio Gonzalez, but Scooter Gennett actually has stitches in the webbing of his hand, between his fingers. Apparently
between the index and the middle finger, right?
Yeah. Apparently he has to have stitches because of something that happened while taking a shower after a game. So that's how bad it is that he has stitches from that.
I've changed soaps.
It's pretty rough. Shampooing with razor blades? I mean, what are you doing here? Here's Gio Gonzalez with runners at first and third. Well, Lance Lynn came up with runners at first and second, struck out. Now it's Gonzalez's turn. Strike one. Marlins have gotten off to a poor start. Cincinnati, they've already dropped 5 of 6 against St. Louis, swept over the weekend.
How about the New York Mets?
Playing outstanding baseball.
8 in a row going into the night's play and losing their catcher and a pitcher, Jerry Blevins and Travis d'Arnaud, in the same inning.
d'Arnaud just can't catch a break.
He really can't.
I mean,
no pun intended.
Right.
He is the fine young catcher for the Mets. They had to recall a catcher from AAA Las Vegas.
Blevins, it's a broken bone in the forearm. That pitch at 94 from Lynn. Up just a little bit, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think after a ball hit like that, sometimes if you're an outfielder, you could smell certain situations. I think if you Jason Hayward, move in three more steps. Gold Glover in right field. Gio Gonzalez is not going to hit a ball that far to right field. Hayward over toward the line about 3 steps after that foul ball.
Just missed on the outside corner. 2-2. And the fans applauding this at bat by Gonzalez. Showed you the numbers just a moment ago. 069 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs in his career. The 2-2. Low. The runner from first, Espinosa, off with this next pitch. This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat. To the pitcher, Gio Gonzalez. Popped up. Molina throws the mask under it, puts it away. Nationals strand 2. We head to the 3rd. The top of the lineup for St. Louis. Pete Kozma, a memorable base hit. Cardinals down 6-0 in Game 5 of the 2012 deciding game of the National League Division Series. Jason Mott recorded the final out, and a stunned crowd here in Washington. What a remarkable game that was. The T-Mobile game changer. Last 26 games against Washington. And the Cardinals have had very good success. And they've also had very good success here in our nation's capital. Not just at Busch Stadium, but right here.
The thing about that game in 2012 is after 2011, Cardinal fans are thinking there's no way we'll ever see anything to compare with Game 6 of the World Series. And sure enough, they did. Game 5 of the LDS.
And it was so interesting, you may recall, and there's a strike to Matt Carpenter. Davey Johnson could have intentionally walked Pete Kozma.
Oh, yeah.
Then to bring up Jason Mott.
Ditto.
He didn't do it. Mott would eventually get the final out, as you saw there, but you would have forced the hand then of Mike Matheny.
Sure.
Could have pinch hit with Tony Cruz. The Cardinals, when they celebrated, before they popped champagne, they all waited for Pete Kozma to come in. He was the first guy that got to pop it and start the celebration. He was doing some post-game interviews. 2-2 here on Matt Carpenter. And a ground ball that's hit to first. Ryan Zimmerman to Gonzalez, and out.
Matt Carpenter helping Gio up, but he couldn't avoid arriving at the same time that Gonzalez did. He appears to be fine. Good call by Jim Wolf, the first base umpire.
The brother of Randy Wolf, longtime Major League pitcher. But think about that. Davey Johnson, you can intentionally walk Pete Kozma to get to Jason Mott, and he doesn't do it, and he gets burned. Now, that would have loaded the bases. Drew Storn had walked 2 in the inning, so that left no margin for error for him. However, hindsight 2020, he intentionally walked Pete Kozma. Jason Hayward looks at ball 1. He lined out to center, first time up.
Davey Johnson, knowing how microcosmic things can be in postseason baseball. He knew that from managing the 1986 New York Mets. 2 out, nobody on in the bottom of the 9th inning. Game 6 in the World Series. And then bang, 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 3 straight hits. Kevin Mitchell was getting ready to... He had his shirt off. He was supposed to be on deck if Gary Carter had gotten on. He was making airplane reservations in the clubhouse. That's a fact.
Hernandez was in there too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He had basically taken off his uniform and was done.
Yeah, you had 3 straight hits by Gary Carter, Kevin Mitchell, and Ray Knight. 3 straight 2-out hits.
Back to Gonzalez. 2 down. So teams with World Series droughts. Nationals trying to change that this year. You see the World Series appearances for these clubs. In search of that elusive World Series championship.
This franchise actually won a World Series in 1924. And Matt Williams' grandfather had 6 at-bats for the 1924 Washington Senators.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
There's a base hit into right for Matt Holliday. Well, if you're in our nation's capital, it just seems right to have the nation's pastime and Major League Baseball back. Played at RFK for a while, and now Nationals Park, which opened up in 2008.
kind of tough to overcome the popularity of the Washington Redskins in this area.
Dan Snyder's trying to help that.
Yeah. What a great line.
The Kia in the driver's seat. He's doing his best, isn't he? Holiday now with the longest active hit streak, along with Billy Butler, 12 games. Breaking ball, Peralta late with the swing and a strikeout. So 4 strikeouts for Gio Gonzalez, twice on Peralta. T-Mobile game changer. This is what we're talking about before, but after that Game 5 of 2012, what the Cardinals have done, and they have played very good baseball against a good team in Washington. The T-Mobile game changer.
A team that won 3 years ago. They won 98 games, and last year 96 games.
They won by the widest margin in terms of how many games they were up inside their division before it was all said and done in all of baseball. As Reynolds puts away Denard Span. The Krispy Kreme dozen deal. The Cardinals get 9 hits tonight. You're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow to receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $3.99. So stop by one of the 4 St. Louis area Krispy Kreme locations for this sensational deal. I mentioned Dan Snyder before. Dan Snyder, of course, the owner of the Washington Redskins.
Very popular in the area, and as a matter of fact, they practiced yesterday and had an overflow crowd at their practice.
Here's Ian Desmond. And a fly ball lifted into right. Going back, Jason Hayward over his head. One hops off the wall. He may struggle defensively, but he can flat out hit.
He can hit, and his counterpart can hit. Johnny Peralta, 2 of the best hitting shortstops in the game. I don't think Jason Hayward saw that ball real well.
I agree.
It's twilight here. It's a little lighter over as Jason was going to his right, looking back over third base. Here at Washington, it's a lot lighter than it is way out in the distance in right field. But I'm not sure he saw that ball real well. Normally he sucks that ball up.
It was Jason Worth who struck out on 3 pitches back in the first inning. One ball, 1 strike. Worth, a former catcher when he was originally signed and has bounced around a little bit. Dodgers, was in Toronto, found a home with the Phillies, and his career took off.
You can see pretty easily that Jason's height would not qualify him as a catcher. If you're 6'4" or taller, it's almost impossible to give low targets. So you're destined for another position. There have been a few guys 6'4" or over. Bill Freehand, Tom Haller of the San Francisco Giants. Not many.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. And at one point in his career, Worth was, as you see now, tall, lanky, but with a catcher's arm, so he fit in the outfield.
Right.
Could run a little bit, but a very good arm that now has been dealing with that shoulder injury, not quite the arm that we once saw.
From the catching position, you have to be quick with your arm. In the outfield position, you can take your time and unwind.
Up and in to Jason Worth. Second walk issued by Lynn. The first was intentional. It brings in Bryce Harper, who also was drafted as a catcher. In his major league career, matter of fact, in his pro career, Bryce Harper is yet to face a pitcher that is younger than him. Think about that. He is
That's
not,
a good one.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Still has not faced a player younger than him. You can see why so many get excited about the raw talent that he possesses.
Sure.
Now Molina calls time to visit with Lynn. Runners at first and second and 1 out.
You may ask yourself, why does a middle infielder come into a situation like that? Well, just in case Yadier Molina changes the signs. It's not to say anything to Lynn or to corroborate anything that Molina would say to Lynn. It was just to make sure that the signs haven't changed.
To watch in the next 3 games, but they talk about Bryce Harper, who normally has a really wild swing at times, that even when you see him take a pitch, it's more controlled.
Well, you know, it's funny. You swing like you take. You swing like you take. A lot of times you could tell when a hitter's going well by the way he takes a pitch. And the opposite is true, too. A lot of guys take a pitch, and they're all off balance, things like that. It's almost like at the end of a golf swing. Not that I can say anything about that.
Me neither.
These are dangerous situations, falling behind a guy like Harper. We talked about it before his first at bat. In my view, he's the most dangerous guy in the Nats lineup.
3-0. Lynn struck him out first time up on a 3-2 breaking ball. And he's turning him loose on 3-0. Remember, Bryce had a 3-0 count in the first and then eventually struck out. So let's see if Len can't duplicate that. Some of the issues that they had with him last year concerning, and it's surprising for some, but lack of hustle from Harper. And they talked about his immaturity, and now that seems to be a thing of the past.
Matt Williams pounced on that in a hurry.
He sure did. Breaking ball, chopped left side, finds a hole and a base hit into left and a 1-0 lead.
It's funny, Dan, that is the type hit that a guy like Harper or any left-handed batter would get with 2 strikes and not on a 3-1 count. The good pitch from Lance Lynn, fastball on the outside part. Harper does not try to pull it. Instead of fastball, that ball might have been a slider. It's very difficult to tell with Lance. He throws both about equally hard. I think that was a slider.
So here's Ryan Zimmerman. I saw the frustration there with Lynn. I'm sure thought if Peralta's playing straight up, that's a tailor-made double play. Instead, out of his reach and a 1-0 lead for Washington. Zimmerman double to right center back in the 2nd inning.
Got to watch Worth at second base too. Worth is more of a threat to steal third than he is second. I talked to Jason about that over the years, and he feels he gets a better jump. And when you think about it, there's nobody holding on at second base, even though it's a shorter throw for the catcher.
In the air, right center, Jay back. He's got it up against the scoreboard. Nice play, John Jay, to track that down, and the runner's back to second and first.
I think there's going to be an appeal on the play at second base. I think Harper took the turn, and when he returned to first, he didn't step on second base. I think the Cardinal dugout is calling for an appeal right now. Good play by John Jay.
Sure was.
And Mike Matheny is going to appeal this. This is more than just an appeal play. It's saying that Harper did not touch second base on the way back to first, so we'll see. What happens is Lynn will go into a stretch, then step off because time is out right now. What you got?
See, they're trying to explain it right now to Lance Lynn of where to throw. He's confused of where to throw.
Yep.
There it is.
Yep.
Nice catch, partner. Well done. And so here comes Matt Williams to argue this.
That's a good call.
You were right on it.
That's a good call.
Initially, I had no clue that had taken place.
Well, you're watching the play in right center field. You can't.
Just take for granted the runner's going to go back and, yeah, you're exactly right. Never touched and retraced. not retracing his steps back to the bag at first. And he's visiting right now with Jim Wolf, who is the first base umpire.
Well, when you think about it, Dan, that's also a good play. Here's Harper going in to second base. Now he steps on the bag, now across the bag. Now, what's his right foot do? Now his left foot's not touching the bag. The right foot doesn't touch the bag. He didn't retouch the bag. But it's the first base umpire's call because the second base umpire was on the play in right center field.
What a catch by the umpire. What a catch by you.
What a catch by John Jay.
You got it. That was a heck of a play.
It was.
So it turns out to be a double play, the catch, and then it goes 1-4. Just took a little while to develop the 1-4. So a double play, and here is Mark Reynolds. Gio Gonzalez has struck out 4. Reynolds struck out in the second inning. Talking about offense being down in the game today across the board. You think then about the job of a pinch hitter coming in to face power arms, and that's what Mark Reynolds now faces for the most part in this time of his career, to be a pinch hitter, come off the bench and face specialty guys, and usually guys that are throwing, it seems like everywhere you go, 95, 96, 97 coming out of the pen.
If you do get a start against a pitcher, it's against a guy like Gio Gonzalez with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball and that curve that falls off the precipice.
Fastball just missed. Gonzalez last year was a .500 pitcher. He's 10-10. And a walk for Mark Reynolds, and the second issued by Gonzalez. Look like the pros with a one-of-a-kind replica batting practice jersey. On Saturday, May 2nd, 25,000 fans 16 and older can take home a replica Matt Carpenter BP jersey. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com/promotions. I think that at bat is a good example of sometimes what happens with Gonzalez, where the wheels come off. He thought he had strike 3 on Reynolds. He was upset he didn't get the call.
And the batter's still alive with
Exactly.
the 3-2 count. You come back with a strike, who knows what's going to happen. The 3-2 pitch missed also. And I think it's not that he walks hitters, but why he walks them. That was a careless walk by Gonzalez.
Back to Gio Gonzalez to second. On to first, double play. And a very nice turn by Ian Desmond.
I think when you talked earlier about Desmond, who has had some problems psychologically with his position, when he turns plays where he doesn't have to think, those are the best plays for him. He had to go down for that ball, relying on his athletic ability and no time to think.
Here's Molina, and he drills it into left center field. That ball will get down all the way to the wall. And Yachty digging for 2 with a 2-out double. But going back to your point, Tim, isn't that it? I mean, when you've seen guys over the years, whether it's Steve Sachs or, a catcher over the years that has had issues throwing
Mackie Sasser,
Sasser,
Johnny Edwards back in the 60s.
When a guy has to throw to second, let's just say the catcher in this case, you being a former catcher, and it's a stolen base, it's reactions. Where if you're throwing back to the pitcher, you got time and you think about it a little bit.
It's a game of reactions. When you hear someone talk about a smart ball player, he's the type of player that prepares himself to react. He doesn't think on the field. I mean, obviously you do, but that's not the primary thing. You've already prepared yourself to think about the reactions you're going to perform and the things you're going to perform on the field. And the more difficult sometimes are the easiest. I mean, that was a tough play for Desmond.
And it makes me think of John Lester and what he's going through right now.
No question. And it's a hard thing to talk about because organizations are not going to help you with it. They're not going to talk about their players because the more they talk about them, the more it becomes ingrained that something might be wrong.
So here is Lance Lynn. And the first pitch taken for a ball.
Jim Cott, who's really a close friend of both of ours, and he used to talk about the best way to play the game of baseball is cut your head off and let your body go to work.
Don't think.
Don't think.
What a great defender he was.
Ooh, 16 gold gloves.
One of the all-time best. Back to Gonzalez. And the Cardinals will strand 2. Through 4 innings, they've stranded 6. Nationals on top. Bringing the lumber. Yadier Molina last inning with a double. Mid left stranded. That's the Yellowwood bringing the lumber. The double by Yadier Molina. Good to see him starting to drive the ball, which you didn't see a lot of in spring training. Didn't see a lot in the first week.
Yeah, he lost the weight, had problems even pulling the ball last year at the end of the season with the injuries. I'll tell you, our friends at Yellowwood, they're not going to see a lot of lumber in this series. I wouldn't suspect.
No. This would be a tough one to sponsor.
Oh, man.
But the minute you say that, all of a sudden things change in a hurry.
Oh, sure. Well, that's the thing that's worrisome to me about how it hasn't changed in these first few weeks of the game. You know,
absolutely.
The pitchers have absolutely dominated these hitters.
Be curious to see if it stays this way. Rob Manfred, the new commissioner, as Yunel Escobar takes a pitch in. There's Pfister. We'll see him tomorrow. But he's talked about, even in his first couple of weeks, before even spring training began, wanting to somehow get more offense in the game. That carries out to Jay. So do you change how a strike zone is called? You know, what can you do to improve it? The pace of play, people point to, you know, the clock and they say, well, it's working. Well, it's working too because there's not a lot of offense in the game right now.
That's true. That's a very good point. That is right on the money. Couldn't agree more.
There's Wilson Ramos.
It's working for the wrong reason.
Ramos struck out. Lynn is struck out 4. Breaking ball, backhanded by Reynolds. Flip to Lynn. Nice play.
Boy, that's a beauty right there.
Tomorrow night, Fox Sports Midwest brings you both the Cardinals game and the Blues playoff game from Minnesota. Many of our viewers will find the Cardinals national games on Fox Sports Midwest Plus at 6. Blues Wild on Fox Sports Midwest right here starting at 8. For full channel listings, all you have to do is head to foxsportsmidwest.com.
Tell you why that was a good play by Mark Reynolds. The ball is tailing toward the line. And when you dive after a ball like that, sometimes you dive too far. See how he has to bring the glove back? That can also cause an injury. But a fine play by Mark Reynolds.
Good majority of his career spent over at third base. Play a little outfield as well. There's the switch hitting Danny Espinosa, who was intentionally walked back in the second. So 2 outs, nobody on. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, I love the matchup in Game 3 of this series with Michael Wacha and Max Scherzer. How about
St. Louisan?
That's
Max
right.
Scherzer won the Cy Young Award 2 years ago.
Oh, he lost the bat. That's fouled back.
It's our Yellowwood Lumber Company friends. Yet another bat.
May not get a base hit, but the lumber is flying. 1-2 the count. How about Michael Wacha, though? He has been matched up. Hey, and watch it. He's been matched up with Johnny Cueto twice, and he'll get Scherzer in his 3rd start. Right down the middle and a strikeout. Number 5 for Lynn. Well, it's with tremendous difficulty and deep personal sadness that Fox Sports acknowledges the passing of longtime Fox NASCAR broadcaster Steve Burns after a lengthy battle with cancer. Shining example of husband, father, friend, and consummate professional, Steve Burns will forever be remembered as one of the good guys. His time with us cherished and appreciated. And the top of the lineup for St. Louis. Carpenter 0 for 2. Very interesting approach, Tim, in watching Matt Carpenter this year. You and I have talked so much about his ability to hit with 2 strikes, but early in counts we're seeing him more aggressive.
He's changed things around this year. He's changed things through the first 11 games in his approach early in the count.
Absolutely. 2-1.
Last year and the years before, he was forced to be a good two-strike hitter because he took a lot of strikes. This year, he's swinging at the first pitch a lot, early in the count.
The 2-1. I think that's a byproduct, too, of just his idea and his approach going into the offseason after showing some power against the Dodgers and hit for pretty good power in postseason play. A lot of that done was early in counts. The 2-2 is grounded to second. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Quality, reliability, and value. Find a servicing Steel dealer at steeldealers.com or search STIHL. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. The Jefferson Memorial here in our nation's capital as Jason Hayward digs in. Slap the other way and foul. Charlottesville, Virginia is the home of Thomas Jefferson. It's about 110, 115 miles away or so.
A little over 2 hours. Beautiful campus. Absolutely beautiful.
Breaking ball hit to second. Espinosa, 2 down. Here in this area trying to win some of the fans over to Washington. You also have the Orioles within there. Baltimore's about 45 miles away from where we're at right now.
Right.
So, chance to see American League Baseball, National League Baseball. 2 outs, nobody on.
Baltimore Orioles have roots in St. Louis. They were the St. Louis Browns, moved to Baltimore in 1954. In fact, in the early 50s, the great manager of the Orioles, Earl Weaver, delivered dry cleaning to the St. Louis Browns clubhouse.
It's amazing.
When he was 13 years old, his dad owned a dry cleaner. Earl was one of the characters of the game, and I can't help but think about him anytime I'm in this area.
Oh, sure. Here's a 1-1.
Earl, of course, from St. Louis. Just a character.
Think of Cardinals chairman Bill DeWitt with the Browns, and
right.
a long history of his father, Branch Rickey. Here's a 1-2. There's a rope into center field and a base hit. 2-hit night for Holiday, on base for the 3rd time.
Matt has hit safely in all 12 games. And we talk about Matt Carpenter being locked in, so is Matt Holliday. And a little bit easier task tonight facing the left-hander. As a matter of fact, before a game like this, you get a tough left-hander out there. And if you're a left-handed batter, you say, come on, you right-handers.
Right.
Get him out of there.
Get him out.
As Gonzalez, as we've said, is no picnic for a lefty.
It's been no picnic for Peralta here. Pair of strikeouts, 0 for 2. Hit sharply and past Ian Desmond and into left. So again, the Cardinals with a runner in scoring position. Already they've stranded 6, and runners at first and second for Mark Reynolds.
Fastball to Holiday, fastball to Peralta. Cards with 2 out, 2 on here in the 5th inning.
Cardinals will get into the bullpen of Washington here tonight. Gonzalez still not through 5, already at 87 pitches. Outfield is straight away. Mentioned the addition of Mitch Harris. The Cardinals also have called up Dean Anna. He's on the bench, hits from the left side. We saw him in spring training. Utility player. Was really hitting well at Memphis, and that's why the Cardinals went with him as opposed to Xavier Scruggs, who's also hitting well, but Anna gives them an option from the left side of the plate. There's Dean Anna. And and that is a foul ball. This time last year, Dean was with the New York Yankees, spent a little time with the big club, then was down in the minor leagues. And he was hitting right around 400 with Memphis, so we'll try to ride that hot bat. Also, as I mentioned, it's such a right-handed bench, usually, that they wanted to get a lefty up here. One and two the count.
I think if you're Reynolds, you can look for a fastball. It seems like Gonzalez is having problems with his breaking ball from the stretch, not from the windup.
A 2-2. There's the breaking ball in the dirt. Three and two the count on Reynolds. Runners off with this pitch. Holiday at second. Peralta at first. Here it comes. And he walked him. Second walk for Mark Reynolds. That's hard to do. He does not walk much. That may get activity in the bullpen. 93 pitches. And Gio Gonzalez is due up first for Washington in their half of the fifth.
Steve McCaddy out to talk to Gonzalez. You know, I made that comment that it's tougher for Gonzalez tonight. It appears to be effective from the stretch with his breaking ball. The reason for that is you don't have the leg kick to abet the breaking ball. When you're from the windup, and Al Raboski and Ricky Horton could talk about this better than I, but I know that pitchers have complained in the past to me a long time ago that they don't have that leg kick when they're from the stretch. So not having that little extra power all of a sudden throws you off kilter. And that's why it appears that Gonzalez is having a tough time with the curveball from the stretch.
Big at bat in this game right here, John Jay. And John takes a ball. Single to left. Then bounced into a 1-6-3 double play in the fourth. Bases loaded. The Cardinals have had their opportunities here in this game, having stranded already 6. He's walked 3 tonight. And 1 intentional to bring it up to 4. Breaking ball, that one much better.
John Jay's first hit was with 2 strikes. There are 2 strikes on him now. Good curveball from Gonzalez.
The 1-2 pitch on its way. Gonzalez out of the jam. Cardinals strand the bases loaded. caught up. The Tigers try to stay red hot. Cubs bring up another star prospect. Plus, LeBron and the Cavs try to jump up 2-0 in their series. See Fox Sports Live tonight on Fox Sports 1 or see it simulcast right here on Fox Sports Midwest following Cardinals Live. And a strike to Gio Gonzalez, who had an 8-pitch at bat back in the second inning. Gonzalez, then the top of the lineup, Denard Span and Ian Desmond. RBI by Bryce Harper, the difference in this game. We went into this season, Tim, saying during spring training, if the Cardinals can stay healthy, which is what most teams are going to say, but
right.
In particular with the Cardinals rotation, this team has a chance to do something special, to put something together that could be an outstanding run in the Central Division. If this is any indication, this could be a fun year for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, if Michael Wacha is healthy, to me, I mean, of course, you know, Adam Wainwright's got to be healthy. He had a little surgery in the offseason. Hope he maintains his speed and his fastball. Carlos Martinez, those three right there, that's 3/4 of, or I guess 3/5 of Mount Rushmore for the Cardinals,
right.
And they are so important. I mean, those three guys right there, very important.
I'd say that the guys, the two, Wainwright there on the left, Walk in the middle, maybe of importance. I'd put them 1-2.
Uber important. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Carlos Martinez has looked awfully good.
Yes, he has. Good changeup.
Yeah. Which we didn't see much coming out of the bullpen last year. Denard Span is 1 for 2. Martinez very effective with that changeup, especially against left-handed hitters.
Yeah, that's the key right there. That's what neutralizes a guy when you're going to face him 3 or 4 times in a game, or 2 or 3 times in a game.
I asked Lynn the other day, I said, do you feel like you're underappreciated a little bit? You know, when you look at the numbers you've been able to put up the last 3 years, and he said, you think about it, but you don't worry about it. He said, of course I see the numbers. I see where I'm at with other pitchers in the league. Do I think I'm right there with them? Absolutely. He said, do I worry about it? Absolutely not. And here it is in this game. You look up, he's in the 5th. Only a 1-run deficit. He just really flies under the radar. Tonight, start number 100 of his career. As we talked about earlier, came out of the bullpen when he began his major league career. Worked as a starter down in the minor leagues. Span has singled to center, grounded out to first, and now pops that foul.
Interesting, these two teams from an offensive standpoint. You have 2 great leadoff batters, Span and Carpenter, 2 great offensive shortstops, in Peralta and Desmond.
0-2 into shallow center, and Jay is there.
And strong pitching, strong starters for both teams. Cardinals certainly with an edge in the bullpen right now against the Nationals.
So look at the Cardinals with 50 wins as a starter in their first 100 starts. Dean, Brackeen early on that list. Most recently, Adam Wainwright. Matt Morris for a time was dominating. There's Ian Desmond, who's 1 for 2 with a double. A run scored, and he struck out back in the first.
Started off, I thought it was that jazz tune, Van Lengo Mungo.
Munger.
Dean, the King, and Munger. I thought it was Munger. Have you ever, I love that song, by the way. That's one of the great jazz songs written, I think, in the late 40s.
Well, I can't attest to that same statement.
We will go over that with the iPad after the game.
I'm in.
And you will know it by tomorrow. You will know all the participants. I'll see to it.
You teach me a lot, I know that. Outside of the game of baseball.
No, would you stop it?
Don't hit me. 1-2 the count. Here it comes. See, I got to travel with you, and then I got Hungo, and then I get a little break when Ricky's around.
Ricky talking about the University of Virginia. I even talked about Virginia and what a pretty campus it was.
Oh, yeah, I had to hear it too. Have to throw you out of the booth. Another guy talking about Virginia again.
Well, my daughter graduated from there.
There it is. There's the connection.
There it is.
Never miss a moment of the Cardinals action. John Jay's right there showing us how it works. We have a portable AT&T phone charger giveaway. That's coming up at the ballpark on Friday, May 1st. 25,000 fans entering with a ticket. Take home that portable phone charger, and tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions. There's Yadier Molina in what could be the final inning of work for Gio Gonzalez as he approaches 100 pitches. Cardinals are over 3 tonight with runners in scoring position. They have stranded 9. And that's a base hit into right.
That's a good piece of hitting right there, boy. You know, when a pitch is that far outside, it's about 2 or 3 inches outside, and you go the other way, what you're doing is you're bringing the bat head to the ball. When you try to pull a ball like that, you're taking the bat head away from the ball. And the bat head is where the strike zone for a bat is. That's the sweet spot hitters talk about.
Now Colton Wong. In the top of the 6th, 1-0 Washington. That pitch elevated again to Wong.
That's where National League pitchers will try to pitch Colton that high fastball because of those hands being low. Whenever you see that, it's what you try to do. Not that exclusively high fastballs, but for the most part.
Wong drops down a bunt, a race to the bag, and safe. Wong is aboard. Heads up play by Espinosa, the second baseman, to get to the bag at first, make that close. He beats it out, back-to-back hits. Tanner Roark, by the way, right-hander, getting loose in the pin for Washington.
Boy, this is a beauty right here. Once Zimmerman leaves his position, the only other play is for Espinosa to try to beat Wong to the bag. Too late.
Second infield hit of the night for Colton Wong. And here is Lance Lynn, who's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. See his last sacrifice of last year.
Bunt the ball to first base. Why is Zimmerman holding the runner on? With runners on at first and second, the first baseman doesn't hold the runner on. There's only a man on at first. That's the case. Somebody yells something to Ryan out there. He was holding the runner on. That's a third baseman playing first base. A mistake by him, but now he's up.
And Lynn deadens it. Throw to third, and they get Molina. With Molina running from second to third, that bunt almost has to be perfect, and his lead getting off the bag at second, Tim, has got to be pretty big.
Got to cheat somewhere. Ramos knows his counterpart is trying to go to third safely, but Molina can't beat the play. I mean, you know what? We talked earlier about home runs being down, about power pitching and not power hitting. You'd think that bunting would be better.
Yes.
And bunting so far this year has been awful in the major leagues. They look like little league bunters trying to bunt major league pitching.
Now with one out, it's runners at first and second. And here's Carpenter, who is hitless tonight. If it gets to this point, you wonder if they bring in the right-hander, then would Mike Matheny, and you see Carpenter 5 for 7 this year with runners in scoring position. You think about Matt Adams and Reynolds' spot. You've got the lefty here for Carpenter and for Hayward, and then at that point, who knows? Here's a 1-0 pitch. By not having the lefty up, he's essentially said Gonzalez is going to face Carpenter and Hayward.
I think you're going to allow him to do that anyway. They're 0 for 6 against him tonight.
Right. 2 balls and a strike. That one may have been outside the strike zone. Let's take a look. It was. The 2-1 is bounced to second. Out there and a double play. 4-6-3 on the double play, and the threat is through for St. Louis. tomorrow again, 5:30 St. Louis time. Lackey and Pfister. Some Cardinal fans here in our nation's capital.
Those Cardinal fans are not, however, in rally cap mode.
Not yet. There's Jason Worth, who's been called out on strikes and also walked. Harper on deck, and then Zimmerman. Pitch count near a 90 here for Lance Lynn. The summer months, I'm not sure how Jason Worth could be comfortable. Man, look at that thing. That beard is only going to get bigger, too.
Either the beard or connecting locks.
I mean,
I don't know what to say.
It gets hot. You got that beard. Ever seen the movie Teen Wolf?
No, I missed that one.
Yeah, it's a Michael J. Fox movie, and after I listen to your jazz, we'll go ahead and rent that, and you can see Teen Wolf starring Jason Worth. There's a strikeout, number 7 tonight for Lance Lynn.
It's almost like you want to say Walt Whitman down on strikes.
Well, that's another one. Here's Bryce Harper. Apparently worse walk-up song, we're told, is Werewolves of London. That's a big deal in today's day and age. When they were thinking about, you're looking at me like I'm crazy. When they were thinking about pace of play rules, they did factor in the walk-up song of players. I am not kidding.
The Werewolves of London?
Werewolves of London.
One of those songs?
Right here on my phone, if I call this baby up. Let's take a little break, get some headphones, and dive into that.
I've not heard the song. I'm sorry.
Oh, I guarantee you've heard it.
I don't think it is. That supposed to make our fans younger? Help with
no.
younger fans or something like that?
No. I'll play it for you in the break, and I guarantee you've heard it. You'll recognize it.
Okay.
Werewolves of London.
I fancy myself a guy who's with it.
Absolutely, you are. Look how you dress. You are with it.
With it, kind of.
You're always telling Jim Hayes about, and myself, how we need to not button when sitting down and
that's right.
Unbutton standing up.
Straighten you guys out.
Well, we need it. That's why you're here. Guess we should get back to the game, huh? There's a walk of Harper. 3 walks issued by Lynn, one of those intentional. Follow the Cardinals with MLB.com at bat, #1 app for live baseball. You can get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. One of the things that Tony La Russa used to do, along with Mike Matheny, was a quick move by Lynn.
That was good. That was close. A very good move by Lance Lynn.
But when a player gets called up, he likes to throw them in the fire. However, on the road, 1-0 lead. Not sure we'd see Mitch Harris in this particular situation. We'll see him, though, in the next 3 days.
Not
but
a 1-0 game.
I agree. Another quick move. It's Matt Belisle who is throwing right-hander in the Cardinals' pen. Zimmerman. A crazy double play turned by the Cardinals back in the third on a fly ball with runners at first and second. John Jay, great catch in center. Bryce Harper had rounded second base but did not retrace his steps, and there's a base hit into right. Harper, no hesitation, he's on his way to third. So runners at first and third. Zimmerman's second hit, and it brings in Yanel Escobar.
Bryce Harper, realizing the ball was not hit hard, takes off. Doesn't slow down at second base, realizing Hayward had to play Zimmerman deep because he's got good power the other way.
Escobar is 0 for 2. Grounded out to first, also flied out to center. Two and 0. Escobar comes to Washington in the Tyler Clippard deal. Clippard had 5 straight years of 70 or more appearances. He was a free agent to beat.
He was a key guy for the Washington Nationals, and they miss him dearly in their bullpen.
You bet. Double play ball. Out at second, on to first, double play. Big, and I mean big for Mike Matheny's club. 4-6-3. We head to the 7th. Cardinals logo on Sunday, May 3rd, when the Cardinals take on the Pirates. 25,000 fans, 16 and older, will take home this one-of-a-kind T-shirt. Tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions. It's our Chevy Colt to the pen, Tanner Roark. Tim spoke about him earlier in the game. Here's a starter last year that would be in the rotation for just about any other team in baseball, and now he's on the outside looking in at that rotation.
He may be a 2, 3, or 4 starter instead of a number 5 guy.
Hayward is short and making the play.
Reaction play.
Yeah, Ian Desmond. The Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals player hits a home run in the Gateway Honda dealers home run inning. They will donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It was a good play. I think we take for granted at this level because it's so routine with these players. A play that Desmond just made, but that's anything but easy.
No, when a shortstop usually has to go 2.5 steps to his right, plant and throw, he doesn't make the play, or it's a lot closer than it was. And he had Hayward by 2 strikes.
Sure did. And Hayward gets down the line.
Yeah.
So Gio Gonzalez, 6 innings, 8 hits, no runs, walked 4, 1 intentional, 4 strikeouts. That's a good breaking ball right there. Here's a 1-2. Holiday, a liner into right center and a base hit. On base for the 4th time and hustling. On his way to second and a misplay in center field, so he puts himself in scoring position. Span tried to pick it up, it looked like with his glove.
Yeah. Some display of hitting and good base running by Matt Holliday. Span tried to backhand it, but of course he has to backhand it since he's a left-handed thrower. It's an easier play for Bryce Harper to make.
So a single and an error. Here's Johnny Peralta. 1 for 3. Peralta on the first pitch. In the air to center. Denard Span with the catch. Holiday back to the bag at second. Just like that, there's 2 down. Plaza Tire Service, Fox Tracks. May have gotten away with one there.
Yeah, that was a slider that was up. Tanner also had it away enough to where Peralta had to hit it on the end of the bat. Didn't have to, but did.
Here's Reynolds with a pair of walks and a strikeout. Here's an 0-1 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. There's certain guys you watch during batting practice, and it is eye-popping. And I know it's batting practice, but how hard and how far they hit the ball. Mark Reynolds is one of those guys. Desmond makes the play. The strike over to Zimmerman. Big night for Holiday. Time to stretch. 1-0 Nationals. Crowd tonight of 27,021. Here in our nation's capital, the Cardinals and the Nationals. Washington on top by a run. Lance Lynn still in this ball game, the Cardinals starter. And it's a breaking ball to begin the bottom of the 7th to Wilson Ramos. Cardinals did have Matt Belisle throwing in the pen. And a ground ball that's pulled foul.
A guy like Wilson Ramos is the only guy on either side that is 0 for 2 and feels good about it. Not necessarily the fact he's 0 2, but that he's caught a shutout from Gio Gonzalez and Roark.
Here's a 1-1. You speak from experience. I mean, you know, being behind there, the pride that you take in calling a good game, being on the same page.
I mean, you can go 0 for 4 and catch a shutout and watch a guy. And I'm not talking in grandiose fashion here, because you may not have had anything to do with it. It just flashed down fingers. But it feels so good, and you do feel part of that. And Mike Matheny knows exactly what I'm talking about. But Matt Williams doesn't, because shortstop and third baseman and first baseman don't understand that.
1-2 pitch, down and in.
It's really, I think, the only part of baseball that is an unselfish part of the game. Every other part of it's selfish, and it's designed to be selfish.
The 2-2.
Baseball is not a team game, and for those people who think it is, they're wrong. Not a team game.
Well, everything you're doing is one-on-one.
Right.
You know, I mean,
it's boxing almost.
Yeah.
Mano a mano, the hitter against the pitcher.
You got it. I mean, even on a base hit to right, runner at first going to third, you're challenging that right fielder to throw you out.
Sure.
One-on-one.
Yep.
The 3-2 pitch. Just missed. Fourth walk issued by Lance Lynn. The Mazda game summary here in the bottom of the 7th, along with Tim McCarver. I'm Dan McLaughlin. 1-0 Washington. Lone RBI is from Ryan Zimmerman.
You know, from an offensive standpoint, baseball's designed, we talked about it being selfish. You may see a bunt here, may not. You're going to see a pinch hitter for the pitchers, so that may take the bunt away here.
There's the bunt. It is down. No one at the back. Finally, Wong is there. The flip by Mark Reynolds.
But with a runner on at second and nobody out, that might be the only unselfish play in baseball, because the hitter gives himself up and gets credit for an at-bat.
Sure.
To the point, Dan, where I think the game should change as far as scoring is concerned. If in the mind of an official scorer, a right-handed batter in particular is trying to move the runner from second base, then he gets credit for a sacrifice if he moves him from second base to third base with one out. I think it's worthy of considering. Lance Lynn, what a job tonight. Terrific.
Kevin Segrist will be the Chevy call to the pen. Clint Robinson announced as the pinch hitter for Washington. So Kevin Segrist, our Chevy call to the pen. There'll be a runner at second, one out when we come back. Reed Johnson will be the pinch hitter now for Robinson, and he'll face Kevin Segrist. We had a nice conversation with Reed today.
That was fun. He's always fun.
Sure was. Lou Piniella and his impersonations and stories. It was great. He told me, he said, Dan, you got to get over here and check this out. I said, okay. Stories out of respect, too. Very much respects the man.
Absolutely.
Seems like a lot of clubs have wanted Reed Johnson to come off their bench. You know, good bench guy, clubhouse guy.
Miami, Chicago.
Yes. Atlanta.
Yep. Toronto.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Good breaking ball from Segrist. That's a good sign right there. If he could throw that behind in the count. Good breaking ball.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. On its way. The Segrist velocity, depending if you trust the guns, hasn't quite been to the level that it was 2 years ago. I'm not sure anybody will ever get to that level again. He got a .45 ERA coming out of the bullpen. He was
amazing.
Unbelievable. But his stuff has been really sharp.
Crisp.
Yes, the last couple of times out.
Crisp as opposed to overpowering.
Right.
And pitching is not velocity only. Can be. But more often than not is not.
This bullpen added to what the starters have done, which we talked about, has been really good. 14 innings. Last homestand. Segrist a big part of it. Only 2 earned runs. 4 for 4 in save opportunities. Rosenthal had 3, Jordan Walden with 1. The 1-2 pitch to Reed Johnson. Hyundai pitch arsenal from a year ago. Majority of the time you'll see the fastball. Nearly 86% of the time last year. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Johnson.
First time to see Jason Hayward on a regular basis and see him more or less every day, and just watching him move in right field. So it's a shrewd way of playing right field. The off field for Reed Johnson.
There's a swing and a miss. I think what you're talking about is something that we saw earlier in the game. You know,
right.
You're seeing a right-handed hitter that's not pulling the ball, just trying to stay alive with 2 strikes. If he does hit it to right, it's going to be shallow more than likely, and
that's
he plays the percentage.
That's what Gio Gonzalez hitting.
Right.
And the same is true with Reed Johnson. You know, follow the swings. And I can't tell you how many outfielders don't do that in the big leagues. Some of them are thinking about their last at bat.
Here's Denard Span. You were telling me off the air, commercial break, but Kurt Flood. He'd go 0 for 4, but genuinely would come back in the dugout cheering on his teammates.
I've never been surprised at what Kurt did after the 1969 season. What he did for the game and for the players and the sacrifice that he had, because he was that type of teammate. A lot of people don't know that. And I'm not too sure, regretfully speaking, that we ever told him that, because we never had a chance. I mean, the deal was done after he was traded.
Right.
I was in the trade. I accepted the trade because I couldn't afford to do anything, nor did I have the inclination to do what Kurt did. But none of his teammates, where he had all that success, really had a chance to tell him what we really thought of him.
Slapped the other way and a base hit to left. They'll hold the runner against Holiday. Wow.
I think you've got to do that. I mean, here's a guy who's penalized for hitting the ball too hard.
Talk about this being a selfish game.
Yeah, oh yeah, but it's a weird game too. One hop to Holiday. Ramos is not a fast runner, so you got to hold him.
see a double switch now with Mike Matheny's club. Seth Maness will be our Chevy call to the pen. 2 outs, 2 on when we come back. $66 with 8 gallons or more now until September 24th. Receive up to 50% off on a pair of tickets to a Cardinals home game. For more information, visit cardinals.com/Phillips66. Matt Adams is into the game. He'll be in the 9th position in the lineup. He's at first. Here's Ian Desmond. I know what you're saying about the runner and not sending him. The Chevy call to the pen.
2 outs in the lead. You can't send him.
Desmond coming up, certainly a threat.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, there are just certain times where you want to take a chance, but in that situation, I don't think you can do that. Evidently, you disagree.
He could run on Holiday, I think, at times.
No, no question.
And the way that he fielded that.
Okay. I respect your opinion.
However, you played 20-plus years.
That has nothing to do with it.
I'm just the guy up here, you know.
Oh, come on. Don't give me that stuff.
I love doing that to you. Now, I don't agree with that play right there either.
Well, I mean, if he gets it down the third baseline, you do.
He's a 3-time Silver Slugger. Now, you know what? We're going to slug this out right now. Swing the bat.
Yeah, it's fun.
So runners at the corners. 1 and 2 the count. The next to Desmond. Ooh, he got away with that pitch that was up, backed up.
Oh, backup slider, one of the best pitches in the game.
He'll take it. Strikeout for Maness. Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. We go back to St. Louis at Ballpark Village in a Bommarito Sports Update with Pat Paris. Matt Thornton, our Chevy, called to the pen, one of two lefties in the bullpen for Washington. So John Jay, then Yadier Molina and Colton Wong for St. Louis. If anybody reaches, Matt Adams.
Matt Williams countering with the move of Matt Adams with Matt Thornton. A lot of Matts happening here.
Deep in the hole, Desmond. Wow, what a play.
You think about the reaction, we talked about it earlier, and an overwhelming applause here by Washington, who knows what Desmond is going through. Remember these three reaction plays by Desmond. On second base, he had to reach for it. Strong throw. To his right, 2.5 steps. Strong throw. And the last play was the best of them all. Watch.
That's big league.
Big time.
There's Yadier Molina. You know, as a teammate, Tim, what do you do when you have a guy that mentally is going through, it's a rough time? We've talked about it. It's even been mentioned here locally. Maybe it's the yips. There it is again. This time he has time and throws a strike. But as a teammate,
there's nothing you can do. I mean, you
coaching staff.
No, you can't do anything. It'll affect you, and while it's affecting him, before you know it, it's affecting everybody.
Yeah,
can't do that.
He's played well here tonight. Quickly, 2 down. There's Colton Wong with 2 outs in the top of the 8th.
We had Steve Blass with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Sure.
Steve was a great pitcher in the middle 60s through the early 70s. Great job against the Orioles in 1972, right? As Pittsburgh beat the Orioles, or was it 71?
71.
71.
Yeah.
Okay. 72 was Big Red Machine.
1 ball, 1 strike. Wong, a base hit against a left-hander. So the tying run is aboard. Brings in Adams. Next time you're looking for great seats, head to StubHub, where there are no surprise fees at checkout. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. Good night for Colton Wong. That's 3 hits to go along with an intentional walk, and this is the first plate appearance for Matt Adams. The bullpen has been the culprit in both of Washington's playoff exits. We saw that happen against St. Louis and last year against San Francisco. All 3 of the Giants' wins last year were by 1 run, including that 18-inning Game 2, which did spark a ton of controversy here locally. Matt Williams pulled Jordan Zimmerman after a 2-out walk. And then it was Drew Storn. Storn is the one that struggled in Game 5 of the comeback against St. Louis, and he struggled that night as well. No balls, 2 strikes on Adams. Wong is running, and the pitch is taken low. So again, the Cardinals with a runner in scoring position. Tonight they have stranded 11.
Matt Thornton, talk about going on first movement.
Yeah.
Colton Wong saw that right foot go up, and bang, he took off. Uncontested in a 1-run game in the 8th inning.
Cardinals 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position tonight.
Now, Matt Thornton is not the type of left-hander who gives you as much trouble as a guy like Gio Gonzalez, because he's straight over the top. There's no making you move on the front side by dropping down at all. Straight over the top. Quality pitcher, don't get me wrong, but not the assignment that Gonzalez was, or a lot of left-handers.
1-2, and it's held on to by Ramos. Adams strikes out. Cardinals have stranded 12, and a big night defensively for Ian Desmond. Nationals on top. Still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. Seth Maness, second inning of work, and a strike to Jason Worth. Worth, Harper, Zimmerman. Popped up to the right side. Adams calling for it, and he dropped it. Foul territory, and he dropped it. Tim, you were talking about when you take an at-bat to the field.
Well, you
Maybe
can't. I mean,
there?
you don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, you don't know whether it's Matt's very upset that he struck out with a man on base, but he could have done that after a hit. I mean, you don't know. You don't know about that. I don't think it's fair to say just because he made an out with a man in scoring position that it's necessarily that he drops the ball, his concentration's not there or whatever because he's taking it down. I don't think that's fair.
1-2 pitch. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Now if he does it 4 times in a season, then it's fair. I think. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, you know.
I think what we're both saying is just one of those things. Sometimes it happens.
That whole thing is so alien to me because I was a catcher. And when you're a catcher, you can't take it to the back on the field. You can't thoughtlessly, but because that guy's 60 feet 6 inches away from you won't let you do that.
Right.
He'll beat you between the ears. What are you doing? So you know at a very young age that you don't take it back out there. But for position players, it used to be, the players would build a reputation, the wrong reputation at times about guys. And then you'd trade for him.
And a base hit out to left past the diving Johnny Peralta.
trade for him, and you find out just the opposite was true. But naturally, when Matt Adams drops the ball, you know that Jason Worth's going to get a hit. I mean, that's the laws of baseball right there, unfortunately.
So with Bryce Harper coming up, Mike Matheny back to his bullpen. Randy Choate. Another lefty with Segrist out there, and Choate, this is his one guy to get. Bryce Harper, our Chevy Cole to the pen. Randy Choate when we come back. Off game number 4 from Minnesota. We partner with the Blues for road game watch parties at Fox Sports Midwest Live at Ballpark Village. Wednesday's party is at 8. Giveaways, games for fans. The Fox Sports Midwest girls will be there. See you Wednesday at Ballpark Village. So here is Bryce Harper. And the first pitch taken for a strike.
You see the way he took that pitch?
Interesting.
That's why Bryce Harper is one of the more disliked players in the game by the players. If we could show that first pitch, the way he took the ball. Now you're up 1-0 in the bottom of the 8th. Talking about showing a pitcher up. Here it is. Watch. If you're playing against him, that makes you mad. You don't like that. And I don't blame players who say they don't like it.
1 ball, 1 strike.
And there are a lot of them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Molina wants it in, gets it there.
You know, I think if you tell a young guy like that, still 22 and all that, give him the benefit of the doubt, say, look, don't do that. And if you do that, you're going to pay the consequences. These are grown men that make a living playing this, make a lot of money playing. When there's money on the line, you do something like that when you're ahead, you might get hurt.
Now he's showing bunt. And
it's just the way that you went about it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a sassy way.
Well, there's a little sense of arrogance. There's no question.
Yeah. It's sassy. I don't know who thinks it's cute, because it's not.
2-1 the count. 1-0 the lead for Washington. Short lead at first by Worth. The 2-1.
Randy Choate missing inside.
Now 3-1.
I mean, if you're Jason Worth at first base, you realize that Randy Choate is not going to throw the ball to first base with any effective movement. And the reason for that, he threw a ball away and lost a league championship game against the San Francisco Giants. Game 5, I believe, in Giants ballpark. When somebody does that and the whole world's watching, they're through doing that.
Choate knocks it down, steps and throws and makes the play. So Harper retired, Worth advancing to second. And Mike Matheny back out. And back to his bullpen. Matt Belisle getting loose for the second time. It looks like his number has been called. It'll be our Chevy called to the pen. And Belisle will get Ryan Zimmerman when we come back. Good ball game, 1-0 Nets. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the content descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. The Lincoln Memorial opened back in 1922 as Matt Belisle takes over. His 6th appearance, the 0 ERA. One out runner at second. Zimmerman looks at strike one. Easily could be 3 for 3 tonight. A very good play by John Jay in center to take a hit away. That's a big run at second base.
I'll say. One thing Matt Belisle has to stay away from is that flat slider. He threw it a couple of times in Chicago. It's where that spin not necessarily that it's up or down. It just flattens out. Caused by when Matt just drops his hand just a little bit and flattens that slider out. Going to miss with the slider. Try to miss low and away.
Low and away is where Molina sets up.
As a fastball, but
1-2.
And Dan, guys really learn from their mistakes, and they're constantly trying this, trying that. But when you're a guy in the bullpen, when you come into a game, you can't try anything because the game may be on the line, such as now. There, that's what you want. That's that diving slider out of the strike zone.
2-2. Inning started with a drop of a pop-up by Jason Worth and the drop by Matt Adams in foul territory. Then he picked up a base hit to left. Harper back to Randy Choate. And Worth advancing to second base with one out. The 2-2 to Ryan Zimmerman. Very careful here with Zimmerman. You've got Escobar on deck. First base open. Very, very careful. The 3-2 pitch. On the inside corner, strikeout of Zimmerman.
Thing is, it's tough to hit in a situation like that because you don't know whether they're pitching around you or not. And you end up getting a ball that's a borderline pitch, one you'd normally hack at.
And the previous pitches too, Tim, had all been low and away.
Fastball low and away, and then two sliders missed low and away. Now he comes back inside with a fastball. And Bilal gets the call. Close pitch.
A huge strikeout. Now you have Escobar. Escobar tonight is 0 for 3. He's hit into a double play. 2 outs. Runner at second. Cardinals will have the top of the lineup coming up. Curveball taken for a high strike.
That pitch was not a strike. Some you go one way or the other. That ball was high, Jack.
Escobar, to his credit,
he didn't say a word.
He wanted to. Kind of turned around and surprised with the call. There's that slider again, away and down. Pulled foul, and again that breaking ball left up.
Escobar, rather a free swinger, so you can go out of the strike zone to get him out. You got to remember that. You do have a base open. 2 out.
1-2 pitch.
That pitch was meant to be a ball.
Exactly.
I mean, your game plan right now is, I think, try to go out of the strike zone to get him out. Even if it's 3-2 and you walk him. Got 3 shots at him swinging at a bad ball.
Two and 2. Free swinger. He's got to protect the plate with 2 strikes. The first strike on him, in our estimation, a ball, may get him to chase. Stays away again. 3-2. We'll do it again.
Up a little more than that 3-2 pitch to Zimmerman, but an effective pitch anyway. The point is, don't throw him a strike.
Yeah. Listen, Ramos is on deck. Molina may be going out to reiterate the point that you're talking about here.
Perhaps. Don't know. But it would certainly be a reasonable approach.
So here it is on 3-2 to Escobar. And he struck him out. Back-to-back strikeouts. Escobar didn't like it.
That was right down the pipe.
We head to the ninth. The closer for the Washington Nationals is in. Chevy called to the pen. He's 4 for 4 in save opportunities. The Cardinals have the top of the lineup. Matt Carpenter, Jason Hayward, and Matt Holliday. Holliday's been on base 4 times tonight. Carpenter is 0 for 4. Entertaining game, huh?
Oh, I'll say.
Just like we thought when these two teams started our telecast, the kind of pitching they both possess. The first pitch drops in for a strike.
Dan, it's almost like tomorrow and Thursday are going to be extensions of this game, the way it's played.
Totally agree.
I would think. These pitching staffs are terrific.
He has struggled, to say the least, against St. Louis. 9 earned runs, nearly 13 innings. How much does that stick with the player, Tim? I mean, you go back to Game 5 of 2012. We just showed you those numbers.
I don't know. I mean, some guy, having a short memory is one of the first things a short reliever has to have.
You hope.
Short reliever, short memory.
1-1 pitch.
Remember John Madden talking about a defensive back once. He said, it's your job to forget.
Same thing here.
Yeah, absolutely.
One and two. And Carpenter singles into left center. The tying run is aboard. He's just a good player, isn't he? Man, oh man.
Yeah. Matt Carpenter does not give away at bats. Ever.
I asked Hal
Doesn't
McRae,
matter what the score is either.
when he was the hitting coach of the Cardinals, I said, what stood out about Pete Rose to you? And obviously he played with Pete, and he said he never gives an at-bat away.
Never.
Ever.
Pete Rose. 13-2.
Exactly.
16-1. Forget it. 8-0.
Now it's Hayward. Hayward lined out in his first plate appearance, and then 3 groundouts. 1 for 8 against the closer of the Nationals.
I'll tell you, the Nationals outfield is playing like a no doubles defense. I don't think that's the proper defense right now.
Extremely deep.
Oh, yeah. If they were any deeper, they'd need tickets.
The check again on Carpenter.
Now, if it's a 2-run game, it's a different story. 2-run game, then you don't want the tying run to reach second base, but the tying run's on base here.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. And that ball gets away. Bounced. Into the backstop it goes. Something to think about with the outfielders as deep as they are. You can see this wild pitch to the backstop.
You know, it's interesting. As you're talking, I see Harper and Worth both moving in about 5 steps, almost like they were listening to you.
And Worth, his arm, and that's exactly where I was going. They were starting to come in. His arm is not the same because of the shoulder injury. Span is more known for his speed, not so much the arm.
Right.
And in right, it's a cannon with Bryce Harper.
Yeah. Harper can throw in right. If Hayward pulls the ball, there could be a play. But with nobody out, Oquendo will probably hold Carpenter up anyway.
Sure. Lots of room left side. They try to keep the runner close on the infield. The 1-1 pitch. Now 1-2. I'm sure some anxious moments right now for the Nationals with Drew Storn, especially with his past against these Cardinals. 1-2 pitch to Hayward. Check swing, but that gets away. Carpenter advances to third. Hayward is out, but the runner advances. So a couple of wild pitches, and Matt Carpenter is at third base.
I don't think Hayward ran right out of the box. There's a delay right there. No, he did. I was going to say, I thought he was going to argue the play that he didn't go around. So if you run to first base, then that means you're guilty.
Exactly.
So that meant you went around. So you could see the dilemma for Jason on that play, but nonetheless, Carpenter's on at third and infield in.
Here is Holiday. First pitch to him. The fastball misses down and in.
I think Storen has shown Holiday how he's going to try to get him out with fastballs inside.
The 1-0.
Ooh, that was a Matt Holiday base hit in the offing. Right down the heart of the plate. A flat slider, and Matt missed it.
The 1-1. Here, Wilson Ramos, you're feeling a little bit of the pressure too with these breaking balls that have been in the dirt. A couple of wild pitches, runner at third.
Yes, sir.
The 2-1. Now 2-2.
Again inside with the fastball. 3 fastballs inside and 1 cookie slider right down the heart of the plate.
One for 6 against this right-hander. Holiday has tied it up. It's 1-1 with a base hit into left. Four-hit night for Matt Holiday, on base for the 5th time.
The 4th time was not a charm for Storen. Inside fastball hammered to left, and the Cardinals tie it.
Now Peralta, go ahead run at first base.
He almost missed that. That was a cross-up. Wow. 2 wild pitches and a cross-up in this inning.
Wow.
High fastball? No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Whoop.
Oh, man. That's a frightening feeling for a catcher.
And for Matt Williams, too.
Oh, yeah, right.
Again, more troubles for Storen against the Cardinals. One-0 pitch to Johnny Peralta. Dean Anna has moved to the on-deck circle. Some of the Cardinal fans chanting, "Let's go Cardinals." You want to hear more boos? Put Cosma on deck. This place will explode with the boos. Tim, they booed him in spring training.
Did they really?
Yeah, we were at their place. And,
at Vieira?
Yeah, and Cosma said, "Well, at least they still remember me. I like it."
Oh, yeah. Boy, those are... You pay for boos like that.
And a 1-2 pitch to Johnny Peralta. Here it comes. Good cut.
The outfield deep again. Of course, Peralta with good power, but if you're Matt Holiday, you're thinking third base. Any hit to the outfield, particularly center or right.
Here's a 1-2. Ramos, Espinosa, and Storen due up in the bottom of the 9th for Washington. Pitch number 19 for the Nationals closer coming up. And that's in the dirt. Again, I know it's one of those oddities, and you say that this guy's got my number, this pitcher does, this hitter does. You just wonder, do the Cardinals have Drew Storen's number?
I don't know about that. But I do know that Matt Holliday is going to be off of the 3-2 pitch.
One out, the 3-2. There goes Holliday. Strike him out and throw him out. Double play to send us to the bottom of the ninth. But Matt Holliday singles to left and has tied the game up 1-1 midway through now. Send us to the ninth, still with a one-run Nationals lead. The Cardinals have tied it up in the top of the ninth thanks to Matt Holliday. Cardinals 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. The one, a big one.
Yeah, they've stranded 12 and had Matt Holliday thrown out on a 3-2 pitch with Johnny Peralta going after a bad ball.
Right center, Jay over to make the catch.
Now you play a doubles defense. And that's why John Jay made that play. There it is. Look how deep John Jay is in center field. And that's why he was able to make this play. Nice defense before the good catch.
Danny Espinosa. One out, nobody on. First pitch, a strike.
I was looking at your scorecard between innings, and you've got to read aloud what Matt Holliday has done tonight. You would think if you announced what Matt Holliday has done tonight that the score was 10-9 Cardinals.
No doubt. It's a walk in the first, single to right in the third, single to center in the fifth, single to seventh in the seventh, also advanced on an error, and an RBI single in the ninth. It's a pretty good night.
I'm telling you, and the Cardinals have scored one run.
One run.
Go figure.
He was telling us in spring training, a real key for him, I need to get off to a good start in the first halves of seasons. He keeps himself in great condition, great shape. He finishes with a flurry, and he believes it's because of how good a shape he's in. You know, he's able to weather the storm of the dog days of summer, if you will. And that's when he does some of his best work. He said, but I really need to get off on a good start and carry the momentum throughout the year.
And boy, has he ever lived up to that.
Sure has. Just a good pro.
He certainly is.
Comes in shape. He's a leader. 3-2 the count on Espinosa. And a fly ball. That'll find the seats out of play. This is your first time to this ballpark, right?
It is, yeah.
How about the view, huh?
I did, well, the view is high.
It's quite the view, isn't it?
Yes, it is. In no other major league park are we this high from an altitude standpoint.
Right.
I want to
just clarify that.
Just see if you were paying attention.
I got you. Maybe the line of the year. A little bit low and a one-out walk.
It's one of those sentences where you're in it and you better figure out a different definite adjective to get out of this thing. And I don't know what I did.
I loved it.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, innocence is bliss.
You got it. Here's Dan Uggla. Because of all the injuries the Nationals had in spring training, Uggla got a chance to play, and lo and behold, he makes this club. One out, runner at first. Dan Uggla, I believe, went hitless in 9 plate appearances with the San Francisco Giants last year when he was picked up after being released by the Braves, and he'll also pick up a World Series ring. Part of the active roster, part of that team.
I didn't know that.
Get
That's
a ring.
Great.
Yeah. Giants off to a tough start.
That's a nice story to hear about a good guy. You know, a lot of people in Major League Baseball think if the talent's there, he must be a great guy. And if he has no talent, he's a bad guy. That has nothing to do with it.
No. You can play. They will put up with everything.
Yeah, oh, yeah. That's right.
You put up numbers, they put up with you.
That's true. To a stretched point.
Uggla, people forget he was a Rule 5 pick.
Out of the University of Memphis, minor league pick. Became a slugging hero down in Miami.
Sure did. Was with Arizona, and then picked up by the Marlins. Giancarlo Stanton just passed him as the all-time leader in home runs. Franchise history with the Marlins. 2-0. If we get to the 10th, it'll be a pinch hitter, Belisle's spot, then John Jay and Yadier Molina. 2 balls, no strikes. Got to a point with Uggla, all the strikeouts, the lack of average, and really to an extent a lack of power because he just wasn't hitting.
And poor defense.
Yes. Braves cut ties with him. The Braves have to be one of the biggest surprises right now in baseball, and the changes that they have made. The 2-1. Doesn't chase the slider, a little check swing, and did not go. 3-1. This becomes a very big pitch right here.
Well, again, we talked about it earlier on a 2-2 count. You don't really send the runner on a 3-1 count. There's too much motion behind. You allow a guy with power to hit instead of sending the runner. Now, 3-2, it's a different story, of course.
A 3-1. Now 3-2. Not running and foul back.
I'm surprised at that. I don't care who's hitting. I mean, you send someone up to pinch hit. He's your pinch hitter. He's not a pinch swinger through the ball. I know he swings through a lot of balls, but I send Espinosa anyway.
And I'm assuming that's what Matt Williams is thinking, is that, well, you got a potential of a strikeout. You got one of the best throwers behind the plate.
Yeah, right.
We'll see if he runs here. It's another 3-2 pitch, not running, and popped up again, out of play.
So does the fact that he's made contact twice change Matt's mind?
We'll see.
He's saying no. All right, Matt.
Shaking his head, listening to us. No, Tim. No, sir. Time call. Three-two and just missed. Good at bat by Uggla.
It really was. That was a tough 3-2 pitch. Just outside, I guess. Boy, it's close. But outside.
So back-to-back walks, and that'll be it for Belisle. Double switch upcoming here. Pete Kozma into the game. And it looks like Jordan Walden coming out of the pen for St. Louis. He picked up a save over the weekend. Primary role this year will be a setup man, and his primary role tonight to get us to the 10th. So double switch, Kozma in, Peralta out, Belisle out, Walden in. The Chevy called to the pen. Good, 6 2/3 with a 1.35 ERA. Runners at first and second. And he'll get the top of the lineup as Pete Kozma is also in the game at shortstop. Denard Span with a pair of hits. And a chance to win it potentially here for the Nationals. Espinosa is the winning run out at second base. Against Walden, 2 for 7. Cardinals, the bullpen with Mitch Harris, Trevor Rosenthal, and Carlos Villanueva, who has not pitched since the first road trip. An extra inning game on Sunday against Cincinnati. Here's a 1-0. 2-0. Down the right field line, but yanked foul. We have seen with this right-hander, Jordan Walden, at times can be just dominating. I mean, he comes in, and if he's pumping strikes, he's blowing people away. Other times, it's more of a struggle finding the strike zone. And now he'd love the strikeout or a ground ball. Get the double play. The 2-1. And it's now 2-2. The changeup. See where that changeup would be such an effective pitch. He throws hard, jumps at the hitter.
He's got to be tough to pick up.
Absolutely.
Right-handed or left-handed. Strike one, the biggest pitch in baseball to any hitter.
The 2-2. Lifted down the right field line again. And pulled foul. A rarity, 2 walks issued by Belisle. Known for his control, strike thrower. He had walked 1 batter in his last 10 appearances going back to early September of last year. Back-to-back walks, though. And it's runners at first and second here for Washington. The 2-2. Good battle here with Span and Walden.
Think about what Span's done. 2-line drive, foul balls down the right field line, a foul ball back to his left, and now one between his legs. So he's fouled 4 balls off in different fashions during this at bat.
He's seen the changeup, he's seen the fastball.
Yeah.
Espinosa, good speed, the runner at second base.
Molina not saying anything, but we've seen punch-outs on pitches like that more than once. Now do you send the runner? The Nationals have nobody on their roster at the present time who has stolen a base.
Being a catcher with a batter that hits from this side of the plate, Molina has an easy throw, easier, would you say, towards third base?
But guys are paid to put the ball in play. I mean, he's fouled off 6 pitches. I just think the Nationals are too reticent not sending the runners. I really do.
The 3-2, not running, ground ball right side. Adams stays with it. Safe.
Well, that ball really took a tricky hop right there. Matt, I think, was thinking about going to second base for the ball because the runners weren't running. So by the time he recovered, his only play was to first base. You know, if it had been Mike Matheny out on the mound, I would have think that they might go to a 5-man infield.
Yes.
But not so. I think Derek Lilliquist was talking to the infielders. They're going to play the infield in. But if the ball is hit hard toward the middle of the diamond, a shortstop, say, would have a chance to turn a double play so he can go for it instead of coming home.
Desmond, who's been outstanding defensively, a chance to win it for Washington tonight. A nasty slider.
That was a tough pitch, sure was.
0-1 to Ian Desmond. 0-2. Jason Worth on deck.
I think Desmond's going to see that pitch again. Both pitches, nasty sliders on the outside part. Maybe just a little off the plate.
0-2 pitch.
Got the fastball.
Goodness.
Came inside with a fastball. You know, sometimes umpires look for pitches too.
That's a great point.
You know, they really do.
Yep.
I think, what am I going to throw this guy in this situation? I'd go with a slider. Boop, fastball inside.
2-2 and a strikeout of Desmond.
So if you're Adrian Johnson, you're probably thinking, why didn't you do that the last pitch? Great slider from Walden to get Desmond.
Jason Worth. Bases loaded, 2 outs.
Boy, there have been 3 walks, make that 2 walks in this inning, but a ton of close pitches.
And the 1-0. Worth a line drive in the center, Jay. The catch! And we head to the 10th.
Unbelievable. Are you kidding me?
An incredible play by John Jay in center.
Not in a doubles defense.
Right.
He started out in one, but didn't end up in one. How about that? My gosh.
He's come up with some dandies in this game. Extra innings from Washington. game for the Washington Nationals. Barrett 1-0 this season. Pete Kozma will lead it off for St. Louis. Then Jay and Molina.
Aaron, a strong arm, his second season with Washington. Going into the clubhouse tonight, Dan, you and I, Aaron coming over to us and saying, we used to catch all the Cardinal games in Evansville, Indiana.
That's right.
And I'm sure we're there tonight.
Big kid, too. 6'3", 225 pounds. Home to the Purple Aces of Evansville, Missouri Valley Conference. Cardinals have stranded 12, the Nationals 10. Some boos for Pete Kozma. A pitch at 95. Oh, 2. That is a nasty pitch that he possesses, Barrett. Now, at times, it can be a little bit erratic, and you mentioned the big arm, but if he puts it all together, Washington feels they've got a really good keeper right here in Mr. Barrett.
A disappearing slider.
There's that slider, and there it is again. Pete Kozma here in Washington, leadoff base hit.
The disappearing slider is not any good when it disappears in front of the left fielder.
It's called a bad pitch, maybe?
It's called a pitch that was up in the strike zone. Good at bat by Kozma.
He had a great spring.
Likes this park.
He does like this park, huh? John Jay has had a couple of really good defensive plays in this game. Hit and run was on. That's a foul ball.
I like that strategy by Mike Matheny. You know, you've got a lefty in John Jay against a right-handed pitcher. A guy makes contact. Instead of opting to bunt to get down to the lower part of the order, you're trying to create things more than just one run. A lot of managers like to back it up. Back-to-back hit and runs.
Third baseman is in. They hold it first. The 0-1 pitch to Jay. Kozma is running, and again, hit and run. And that's pop foul out of play.
The thinking on that is if you hit and run once, there's no way a catcher is going to pitch out because it's too obvious. The reverse is true. You get a lot of screwy thinking tonight, but
that's part of the game.
It's part of the game.
No
it's
question.
Part of the strategy of the game. No hit and run now, but if the count goes to 3-2, then Kozma will be running. Remember, Jay's one of the best two-strike hitters in the National League. He's proven that.
Kozma 5 of 6 in those steal attempts. Get a ball in the gap, and he takes off. He's also one of the better runners on this team in terms of speed. Fake towards second, pitch taken for a ball, and it's 1-2. What about the element too, Tim, of just the hit and run on, and also what it does to the pitcher to speed him up? Sure. Everything's now all of a sudden amped up a little bit with that runner.
Your catcher's jumping out of the strike zone position. Your infield's moving. Middle infielders are breaking toward the bag.
2-2. there's anybody tonight that wants to come up and do some damage, you would have to think it is Matt Adams. Tough night defensively. Love to atone for that. Here's a 2-2. And Jay hits it out to center. Span makes the catch. Cosma back to the bag at first. One out. Here's Yadier Molina, who has doubled to left center in the fourth and singled to right. 2 for 4. It's another candidate. Realize it's 1 out, but you think about the hit and run. Not saying you do it in this particular spot, but Molina is one of the best at going to right.
Yeah. If you get to 2 and 1, you do it.
Sure. And a check on Cosma.
Tell you what you might think is a straight steal. Cosma's been getting some very, very good jumps at first base.
One is pulled foul.
This has really been a strategically brilliant game from both sides. You know, the chess match that Mike Matheny and Matt Williams are playing with each other. You know, in that particular situation, Inel Escobar was on the line at third base, prevent the double, foul ball just off the line at third.
0-2 pitch. Cosma back safely. By the way, Pete Cosma, this again is one of those oddities where one player maybe does well against another team, or in this case, Drew Storen struggles against the Cardinals. Cosma, if you include the postseason, is hitting .362 in his career against the Nationals, .215 against everybody else.
Go figure.
The 1-2 pitch to Yadier Molina. Going back to your point, I was thinking initially, even in the J at bat, that we may see a straight steal. Cosma's fully capable of doing that with his speed.
He's had some very, very good jumps during these 2 at bats.
There he goes on the 2-2, and Molina strikes out.
Molina swinging all the way around, knocked the ball out of Ramos's hands.
So the Cardinals have a man in scoring position.
It was certainly unintentional. Watch this. Cosma off with the pitch, and Molina hitting the left arm of Ramos, and the ball juggled out of his glove. So Cosma at second base, stolen base.
Colton Wong, a big night. On base 4 times, 2 infield hits, a single to right, and also was intentionally walked.
I might be inclined to walk Wong here because the Cardinals need a base hit. Who's better at it right now in this game, Wong or Adams? I think Wong has a better chance of getting a hit than Adams. Might be wrong. May not have a chance if he ends up walking him anyway. But Adams has such power. That's why guys are so much against walking to get to him, unless there's a left-handed pitcher out there.
Cardinals 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position in this game. The 1 hit, single by Holiday in the 9th off of Drew Storen. Bouncer hit to second. That sends us to the bottom of the 10th. We're tied up. It's 1-1 here in Washington. Innings, third inning. Bryce Harper with a base hit to left. That made it 1-0 in the ninth. Drew Storen on. And Holiday came through and scored Carpenter. We're tied up 1-1 as we head to the bottom of the 10th. New pitcher in for St. Louis will be Carlos Villanueva. Of concern from the Cardinals' perspective with this move is the fact that Villanueva hasn't pitched since the 12th of April. So we're talking 8 days.
So he is rested. So he could go a few more innings than any of the other relievers, including Trevor Rosenthal, unless the Cardinals get a lead after 11. But Villanueva is, I guess, the best candidate in the bullpen to throw 3 to 5 innings.
Sure.
Because he was a starter. He had 31 starts in 2012 and 13, 5 last year for the Cubs. So he's used to airing it out.
And I say of concern because 8 days, you just wonder how sharp he'll be.
Sure.
And he gets the middle of the lineup. Bryce Harper, their cleanup man. First pitch to him. Good job by Jordan Walden to get us to this point. So Mitch Harris is also available out there for St. Louis as Harper pulls it foul. Another name to think about.
Sure.
No balls, 2 strikes on Bryce Harper. He struck out, singled, walked, and grounded out. Broken his bat, hit off the end of the bat, and shipped it. Villanueva, really nothing overpowering.
No.
You know, he's just going to spot his fastball, cut it. Throws a little split finger he'll mix in there with a changeup. The 1-2. And a strikeout of Bryce Harper. Good start for Carlos Villanueva.
Sometimes you're tested early in the season, and this is one of those times. That was that splitter right there that dived out of the strike zone. And Harper, a strikeout victim. His first strikeout since the first inning.
Ryan Zimmerman is frustrated with the strike zone. You may recall last time up in the 8th. That was off of Matt Belisle. Called third strike, and then he struck out Escobar after that. He's 5 for 12 in his career against the Cardinals righty. Couple of hits tonight for Zimmerman.
You know, Dan, when two good teams have scored only 2 runs in 9.5 innings, then the pitchers must have been making good pitches all night. And that's been exactly the case. Overall, Adrian Johnson's done a good job. Very good job behind the plate.
I was saying the other day, the one thing the replay I think has shown majority of fans is that these guys are really good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they get the majority of the plays right.
Yeah. In the strike zone, argued occasionally, but the very fact that there are only 2 runs have been scored and a lot of baseball has been played means that home plate umpires had a lot of tough decisions, and for the most part, he's been right.
I agree. 3-1 the count. Carpenter guarding the line, and Adams way off the line at first base. Be careful here. Zimmerman into center. Here's Jay again. Why not? Another great catch by John Jay in center field.
What's going on here?
Have a night.
Goes back, goes to his left. I don't blame you for bowing. I would too. Just a terrific play. Terrific play to end the 9th. And now for the second out in the 10th. And the biggest play of the night was when he went to right center on that double play.
Out to deep left. This may leave the ballpark.
Oh,
it does. A walk-off homer. Yanel Escobar. The Nationals win it in 10 by the final of 2-1. Escobar, the Budweiser player of the game, a walk-off homer against St. Louis. Cardinals now 8-4, Nationals back to 500, 7-7.
Escobar's second home run of the year. And to say it was a big one is understating it.
On to the post-game show we go. Yanel Escobar, a solo shot as the Nationals defeat the Cardinals in extra innings by the final of 2-1. Yanel Escobar, the Budweiser player of the game. Plenty more coverage to come. Post-game show comes your way next.